guys, I want to do a review on my 2014 Yamaha Tenere. It's a 2014, but the 60th anniversary paint scheme. Basically pay extra 500 bucks, get some stripes in this color. No difference whatsoever. This is also the non-ES, by the way, so that's electronic suspension. In my opinion, you don't really need it. If you're riding the same, basically the same roads, same weight on the bike, there's really no reason to change the weight, the preload on the bike. Yeah, other than that, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of this motorcycle if you're thinking about buying this one. This is Series Generation 2. Generation 1 has a little bit less features than this bike, and it definitely is a lot cheaper than this bike. But if you're going to spend the money, I would just get the second generation. So to start out with the bad, the biggest issue with this bike is the weight. Stock, it's 575 wet. However, with this bike as it sits, and I have a little bit of less gear, it's going to be 625. So at 625 for dirt roads, fire roads, regular roads like this, it's fine. But if you're going to go up loaded and you're going to try to do something more extreme, I would not suggest it on this bike. Particularly if you're more of a beginner or off-road rider, I would not use this bike if you want to do serious off-road riding. It requires a lot more skill to control this weight because it's more top-heavy, so it's more prone to wanting to wash out when you're kind of leaned over. So you basically have to stand up if you're trying to maintain traction in rougher terrain. So other than that, the other things I would stay away from are the side cases. The top case is straight junk. What else? And the seats, it's all right. If you're a lighter weight rider, maybe under $180, it should be fine. You won't get any pressure points. But if you're a heavy rider like me at 230, you're not going to like to see the material get compressed and then start causing pressure points, especially over 100 miles. What else? Just a small nitpick. This emergency button down here is it's really annoying. You have to bring your hand in closer to use it. Other nitpicks, this is a dual rate spring, so there's basically two springs in the very front of the suspension. That's meant to make the ride a little bit softer. However, under braking, hard acceleration, all this weight of this bike wants to push forward, and that's not very fun. I mean, you can dial the preload, but then you're reducing suspension travel. Other than that, tallest of this bike, for me at least, I'm 5'5", and I get about an extra half an inch from these up when it starts exploring. I've also had the seat shaved at the very edges, so it changes the angle of your leg, so you can bring your leg more down. I can't quite flat-footed, but at least on one side when I move over, but it's pretty close. But yeah, if you're 5'5", make a couple of mods, you should be okay. However, if you have back problems, it kind of moves your hips to one side when you do that, so it can get kind of painful depending on what kind of back injuries you have. Other than that, if you're going to use this bike for primarily for highway use, off-roading, it'll be fine. But if you are going to try to daily ride on this thing with a lot of stop-and-go traffic in city streets, I would not recommend this bike. From all that weight of constantly stopping and going, it's really annoying. So it's going to tire you out. Well, what's great about this bike? It's exactly what I wanted. I did my research. I looked up if it's reliable, maintenance, power, luggage. I was looking for a long distance touring bike, and that's exactly what I got. My main reason for getting this bike is reliability, and then after that, it's value for money. The wind protection is actually I think it's pretty good. I know some of the complaints on the bike were that the windscreen is not adjustable with one hand. I really don't see the reason why you would want to use one-handed adjustment. I mean, unless you're looking to change the airflow more to your helmet, but the way I have it set up for my height, and I'm 5'5", it blocks all the wind, or a majority of the wind up to my shoulders, with no buffeting. And there's definitely still a large amount of adjustability. I mean, I could probably pull it up another 4 or 5 inches. So if you're like 6 foot, so you should be fine. And you can always get one of those cheap, like eBay deflectors, and that'll give you another 2.5 inches. Also, the lighting is LED, and it's definitely super bright. The high beams on, I mean, it's definitely plenty bright. I see no real reason to use auxiliary lights. Go over some of the basics of the screen itself. It's nice and big, clear. It's got everything you need. There's 3 different modes you can change this to as far as what information you need. I usually always leave it on this, because then now it gives you an idea if I need to drink water on based on the temperature. Of course, always monitoring engine temperature. It's not 100% necessary, but I really want the trip timer, so I know to take a break every hour or 2 hours, depending on where I'm riding at. You hit this switch right here to change the information, your trip meters. Odometer, like I said, 33,000 miles in around 10 months. And I'll go into further detail what kind of terrain I've been into. And they give you your fuel range, which in my opinion it's pretty inaccurate. Sometimes it'll be more than what it says, sometimes it'll be less than what it says, but I generally find it's about 10% inaccurate. And I'll get, with the way I drive, which is pretty much cruising for the most part, I'll pretty much get around 250 per tank. And then I know the manual says a different fuel range, but because I ride so slow, I'm getting 48 miles per gallon, which is crazy for a 1200cc engine. And then the other things you can do, of course, are change your traction control 1, 2, and then off. I pretty much always leave it at 1. I'm not looking to slip and slide all over the place, and I've never had an issue with traction on this bike. And the only time it would kick on is occasionally off-road. Of course, there's mode, selection, touring, and then you hit this mode button over here for sport. I very rarely use sport, and it is kind of fun once you make the adjustment to this. Of course, you can retune it and change that, but 99% of the time it's in touring mode. And yeah, the acceleration will be, or I'm sorry, the response will take longer because you have to turn the handle more, but power is not limited. It's just the throttle response. Then of course, yeah, high beams. Here's your cruise control. It's pretty much like a car cruise control. It's easy to set. For mods that I would do to this bike, if I had to have them, I would definitely get this rack. At least this rack, maybe not the rear, but I sometimes put firewood back here. So for my setup, I would definitely run a front and rear rack. I think for the set, it's going to run you around $300. And then this seat as well, I have to have it. I mean, you can change how much it inflates. It's about 125. Some type of crash bar protection, but not this one. If you look on Yamaha's website, they have something that's a little bit smaller, so it'll protect this area more, and then it'll run a bar towards the top over here. And of course, they have a smaller aluminum skid plate, and that's what I would go with, because you can change out your oil filter without any problems, and then of course save the weight. Of course, some rock straps, then your probably some soft luggage. You know, like with these, I think they're about 22 liters, somewhere around that. Don't quote me on that, but some kind of soft luggage. And then you actually don't necessarily need to run a rack for that. The exhaust works to hold up that weight as long as you don't put too much, more than 15 pounds, so it'll hold the weight. Now this side is where it will come into the tire well, or up here in the tire. What you can actually do is you can actually flip that, and on the forums people have done that and it works fine. I have yet to do that mod, but definitely if you're looking to reduce weight and not spend you know, $1,200 in cases with the racks, that's the way to do it. You can get some $180 pair of soft saddle bags or dry bags. Well, as far as for the front end, probably the clear ones, the clear lenses from Touratech. I think they're like $140, somewhere around there. I think the only thing is the engine sound. It is going to sound like a V8, so it's going to sound throaty, and then you're going to hear some sound from the valve train. For the price, for the reliability, you know, for the help as far as trying to get this bike repaired if in the future I need anything done, or modifying it or repairing it myself, it's in my opinion it's the way to go. And if you're looking to do some long distance touring, you can't go wrong with this bike. And definitely they're more powerful bikes, more sophisticated. Are there more comfortable bikes, you know, a little bit easier to sit on and to modify? Oh yeah, there is. But if you're looking for a good all-around bike that's reliable, that's cheaper than the majority of the companies out there, you can't go wrong with this bike.